China's defence ministry has warned Japan will pay a painful price if it crosses a line on Taiwan. The comments are in response to Japan's plans to deploy missiles at a military base near Taiwan, a self-governing island that China claims as its own. Beijing warned against any foreign interference. The Foreign Ministry also called on Japan's Prime Minister to officially retract her remarks, suggesting the nation would intervene militarily if China were to attack Japan. Here's what China's Defence Ministry said about Japan's missile deployment.
The People's Liberation Army has powerful capabilities to defeat any invading enemy. If the Japanese side dares to cross the line even half a step and bring trouble upon itself, it will inevitably pay a painful price.
Well, joining me now in the studio is DW China analyst Clifford Coonan. Clifford, good to see you. The question jumping out at me here is, why would Japan decide to move missiles close to an island near Taiwan now?
I think it's a combination of factors. Chiefly, there's a new administration in Japan which is much more nationalistic under Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, and there's also a growing fear, I think, in Japan about they're watching the situation in Ukraine right now. Since Russia invaded Ukraine, there's been a lot more support for an assertive approach to China within Japan, particularly relating to Taiwan. Japan occupied Taiwan for 50 years, and the island still has quite a lot of Japanese influence there. And there's a general feeling of growing militarism by China in the region. And so all of these things combined for them to make the decision to move missiles to this island, which is only 110 kilometers from Taiwan, because it's seen then that it can defend that strait and that area near Japan should China invade.
And so what do China's reactions then tell us? Diplomatic protests, travel warnings, warnings about revived militarism. What do they tell us about Beijing's red lines and how it perceives Japan's shift?
Well, Taiwan is China's biggest red line. That's something that we have to get straight from the start. It sees it very much as part of its territory, and it's made no secret of the fact that it wants to take it and that it might take it by force if necessary. This is now seen as, given the developments in Ukraine, as we just mentioned, there is a fear that reality could be coming closer. So I think that the reactions are very much within that sort of framework. They are still sort of non-military reactions, a lot of them, you know, travel warnings, that kind of thing. But I guess there's always the fear that these things could step up. And China is very, very keen because it sees any mention of defending Taiwan as a threat to its sovereignty.
China and Japan, it's a really high-level argument and a powerful one. Taiwan's caught in the middle. How do Taiwan feel about what's being said and what's being discussed?
Well, the reaction in Taiwan has been broadly supportive. It chimes with things that have been happening on the self-ruled island over the past few months. We've just seen the introduction of a thing called the T-Dome, which is an anti-missile defense system. They've introduced a new budget to really boost the military. So all of these things come together just as Japan is saying this. So in Japan, they're broadly supportive. In Taiwan, they're broadly supportive of this.
The US has obviously been a really close ally to Taiwan. Has the US stance on Taiwan, though, changed during Trump's second term, or has that been consistent?
Officially, no. And in some ways, the current administration has been even more assertive on its stance on Taiwan. It removed a clause in the State Department saying that it opposed Taiwanese independence, for example, something which really annoyed China. However, we are seeing that there's areas where Trump personally, individually, hasn't been as supportive of Taiwan in public. And he also called Prime Minister Takaichi recently to say that she should tone down the comments in Taiwan. So even though officially nothing has changed, as with so much in the current administration in the US, everything seems a little bit conditional, a little bit transactional, and so a lot of things are going to be working on that basis.
DW China analyst Clifford Coonan, good to see you. Thanks.